So today I'm going to go out and do some oil pastels. And I have a feeling it's going to be pretty windy out there and it might be hard to show all these things on camera without them blowing everywhere and the sound might not be great. So I'm going to show you right now what I'm bringing. So when I go do oil pastels, I keep everything in a casserole holder. So this one actually, you carry it like this. And so it allows everything to stay level, which is nice when you have these sets of pastels. And today I'm just gonna bring like the student grade ones just for fun. I'm not worried about being super serious. So if it was hotter, right now it's gonna be about 80 degrees, but if it was like any hotter than that, I would put some ice packs down here. But I don't think it's gonna get any hotter than that, so I'm not worried about it. I have my spray bottle of alcohol. This is for spraying off tools and your gloves and things like that. It helps you get the oil pastels off there. And I'm bringing this oil pastel pad. This is great for practice. It has little glassine pages in between each page. And the surface is not very rough, so it's not going to hold a lot of layers, but it's fine for this kind of a thing. And then I'm bringing the my travel SOHO extra soft oil pastel color set. This is the set of 24. I also have like the big set of 72, but that doesn't travel nicely. And then I have my Pentel oil pastels for the hard pastels. So I have hard oil pastels and soft oil pastels. And then that's the swatches for that. And then I also have all of my tools. So I have gloves, I have a palette, I have a palette knife, I have some little silicone spreading tools, and paper towels. So we're gonna try this. The biggest thing I run into every time when I'm doing oil pastels is trying to keep everything from rolling away and blowing away. So should be interesting. Look at that view, that's sure nice, isn't it? Shh. I'm at Usery Mountain Regional Park today, and it is just windy as can be, my God. Like, I expected to be hot, and when I get out here, I was like, I need to get a sweater. I'm cold. So I'm trying to decide what I'm gonna paint with the pastels. This cholla here is pretty cool. You don't wanna do things that are too small in detail with oil pastels, which is why I'm not gonna do that gorgeous view. I am gonna take pictures of it though, to use at a later date. So I'm gonna get started before I lose my light here. As I suspected, that wind is really kicking up. So it is darker out here than it appears on the camera. The camera is compensating a little bit. The lighting is pretty low. So that was fun. I did enjoy my big like Bob Ross bravery moment of when I just drew in that choya. It was pretty cool. So the wind tried its hardest to blow everything away constantly the entire time I was here. Oh, look at that sunset. Look at that. Isn't that nice? I had one time where it totally blew up my pages, as you probably saw. But, you know, I had everything weighed down enough. So I'm pretty happy about how that turned out. I'm going to clean up before I lose all my light and head home. So looking at these sunset drawings when I get back home is always really entertaining. Because I really genuinely like have kind of no idea what it really looks like, because the light is usually so like low by the time I'm finished with it that I'm kind of just guessing at the colors and what it's looking like on there. I'm kind of hoping that everything comes out right. Like you can see texture well, but like judging color and contrast gets harder and harder. So you're kind of hoping a lot. When you watch the video, you probably noticed that I did many layers on the sky because it took me a little while to get used to this paper. I've been using this kind of like sand textured paper that has a lot more grit to it to do oil pastels lately, so I wasn't quite prepared for how this one would take pastel. It did not do particularly well with the hard pastel. It was hard to get it to stick on there. It just didn't really like play well with it. It worked much better with the soft oil pastels. So I did like, I did the sky, and the sky really did have this yellow cast to it. Like the air was dirty or something. And then the sunset was kind of behind, like facing this. So everything here was being kind of, the light was being affected by the sunset facing at it. And those mountains kind of changed color as I was looking at them. And obviously so did all the plants. But the shadowing was pretty firmly like the light was over here, because there's a mountain behind me too. And then this, like none of this had like a deep cast shadow anymore because it was so late in the afternoon. So the shadows are really only showing up like on the plants themselves. And I found myself spending a long time down here because I hadn't really done like a layer behind there to fill it in. So that was kind of an issue. But I really like, so this saguaro was kind of like, it's not my favorite how it turned out. It's okay. I kind of struggled with it a little bit. I probably, if I had it to do again, I would probably draw that saguaro and these other saguaros in with the silicone shaper tools. So I would have a little bit more precision, but you know. I did like how the other plants turned out for the most part. I think they kind of, like I used some sgraffito in there, and I think that really helped give it some texture. I actually really like how these turned out in the front, and they were done with the soft oil pastel. And then I had a lot of fun with the choya. Like it really, I feel like that's absolutely my favorite part of this, and it's the part where I spent like the least amount of time and did it really quickly at the very end. So it's kind of funny, but yeah, I think I'll do that again. I noticed down here too that because it was so dark, I couldn't tell that I hadn't put enough color to kind of hide the texture. So it's okay. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I probably, if I could have seen better, I probably would have fixed that. So yeah, I'll be doing oil pastel again another day. But I think that time I will actually bring the professional oil pastels. So it was good to get some practice in this time, and I'll bring different paper too. This is fine for practice, but it doesn't really like give me a lot of versatility options. So today I'm doing a nighttime draw. I am in downtown Mesa, and this is the neon sign garden. I'm trying to get these to show up better, but the camera is not liking this very much. I have brought my black sketchbook and my Posca paint pens. Both I think these are these ultra fine. These are the really like fine tip ones, and the thicker tip ones. And I also brought an extra gold one in the fine tip, and then some white jelly roll pens. So I did something similar in downtown Mesa last year, but I didn't have these finer tip pens, so I'm hoping that I can get it to be a little bit more refined. Okay, everybody's tired of waiting around on me, so this is how far I got. These finer tipped Posca paint pens definitely allow me to do a lot more with this. So I'm going to finish it when I get home. But I feel like I definitely, like, you know, got a good start going. Yet again, it's just really hard to see what this looks like on this camera, sorry. But, yeah. That's a fun little garden to draw. Alright, so I actually had to turn the light off on my camera here to be able to get this correctly because it was starting to reflect. But yeah, I'm going to call this one done. That was fun. I altered color in a couple of places, like this wall is just like a gray wall, and obviously that's boring, so I made it purple. Also, this up here is like another shade of brown, all those browns, you know, so made that blue. But yeah, that was fun. Working with these fine tip ones, now let's see, I can actually look at them now. They're the 0.7 millimeter. So working with the 0.7 millimeter ones definitely was a more fun drawing experience. I also brought in the bigger ones too. The 1.8 to 2.5 millimeter ones for the bigger areas, but I feel like I was able to do a lot more with it and like kind of get more texture and more detail and kind of do things more in my style. So I feel like I would still need to work more with these to like get the gist of it. The hardest thing to me was that I didn't have a dark brown. I only had this kind of like light, I don't know, it's not even a burnt sienna. It's like a lighter version. That was not great to work with, and I needed more browns. And my gray was starting to die because I used it for another project last year, and it's almost gone. So yeah, I wish I had a little bit more variety in color, but that's about it. That was cool though. So this is where they keep all the old neon signs. So you're not allowed to put up neon signs anymore in the city of Mesa, but they used to have a whole bunch of them, like up the main street and everything. And so they've been putting them there from the old businesses to preserve them, and it's really cool. So yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do tomorrow. No plans. I might go back and do like pen and watercolor though. It's been fun for the last couple of days to just do something a little different. You know, I like to break out and have some variety and experiment, but I think tomorrow I might want to do what I'm a little bit more comfortable with. We'll see. Today I looked all over the place and I just couldn't find anything very interesting. I don't know, feeling uninspired. That's how that goes sometimes. So I'm going to do this sunset. I think it's kind of cool. I have this little cold press watercolor journal with me, and it's pretty small. It's like a 4x6. So I'm going to paint on one page of it. Haven't decided which direction I'm going to go yet. And I'm also going to attempt to paint everything using this Daniel Smith palette. This palette has all kind of like weird colors in it. The top row are all Primatech colors. So those are the ones that come from minerals like amethyst and turquoise and that kind of thing. And then the second row is all duochrome colors. So that means it's one color under the light and one color if you do it like over black. And then the last row are all just metallic colors like bronze, gold, etc. So I thought it'd be an entertaining challenge to try and do it all with these like funny colors and see what happens. As you can see, it is totally dark out there now. I do remember what it looked like. I did take a picture. So I'm just going to do my best. I'm just going to draw it anyway. And, you know, just is what it is. Well, I've managed to get something cool going here. It's going to take like forever to dry. But I've got this iridescent blue that fades down to iridescent gold and copper. And I think I put a little bronze in there even. And I sprayed it with my little water bottle so it all kind of granulated like crazy. And it's pretty neat looking. I mean, it doesn't really necessarily look like the sunset, but it looks cool. This is almost dry. I don't know if you can see it, but it's just like all shiny. The sky's shiny. It's all got like mica in it. It's pretty cool, actually. I actually really love using iridescent paint in my watercolor paintings. I think it creates like a really cool effect. You have to do it right, though. There's definitely a wrong way to do that, I think. But I think when you want things to have that shiny quality, like the sun is shining or something, it can be really neat. Okay, I feel like I'm out of time for now. It's a little late. I'm gonna go home and finish this. So there's a layer in the front that I want to add that has like some cars and things. I'm probably gonna do that with like the hematite color, but we'll see. And then I'm gonna go in and add some like iridescent whites and yellows to create the lights. And I may use a jelly roll pen to help facilitate that as well. So you can see that it really granulated a lot, which is just super cool. A lot of that's the bloodstone, but honestly, like all of these paints kind of granulate a little bit at least. Look at that, isn't that cool? I don't know if you can tell, this camera doesn't like to pick it up. You know, the phone kind of compensates, but it's all sparkly with mica. Just the entire thing is. It's really cool. So I actually quite like it as it is, but there's another layer that belongs in front, but I can't put it in there until it really dries more. It's pretty damp. So I'm gonna go ahead and go home and I'll finish that part at home. All right, I'm back home. And this has had a better chance to dry thoroughly. This is what we have here. And it's like, it's cool the way it is, you know? It's like one of those things where I'm like a little bit nervous about messing with it. So I'm actually gonna take some pictures of it as it is right now, and then I will do the next part so that I can kind of maybe judge about what decisions I should have made. But here you can start to see, if I zoom in more, you can really get a good view of the granulation. I'm gonna turn the lighting up a bit here. There. Check that out. You can also see, so there's iridescent gold behind everything, so it's kind of picking it up. And so, you know, the bloodstone granulates a lot. And I was definitely getting granulation off of those metallic golds and bronzes. So that's pretty cool. Let's see if I can get up here and you can see it too. So you see the mica in the sky. I love that electric blue color. What's it called? Iridescent electric blue. There you go. I love it. Honestly, like that is the sky in Arizona right there. That's cool. So I am going to put some stuff in the foreground, but, you know, we'll see if I think that was a good idea later. But I like how expressive this one is. I think it's cool. Okay, this turned out cool. I'm pretty proud of this. I was kind of just determined to keep going until it turned into something I liked. Sometimes you just have to just decide. You just have to decide that it's going to be interesting, it's going to be good, you're not going to give it half the effort. And sometimes that can help get you through when you're just not really sure about it. So, like, I felt like this was going to be a simple one, and I wasn't like, this wasn't going to be my favorite. But actually, as I kept going, I started to like it more and more. And I want to talk about these paints. So this was like, God, for the longest time, I got those Primatech paints, and I just a lot of times couldn't figure out how to use them. You know, like you had them and you're like, I don't know what to do with these because they're not always as vibrant. They're not always as saturated. Some of them granulate a lot, which can be great, but you just like have to know what to do with it. And I never had it quite figured out, but this was interesting because this is, first of all, this is like 100% cotton cold pressed paper. It's thick paper. This is good paper for a sketchbook. I would definitely recommend this one. I'll put the name of it in the description so you can find it. I think that this one's great. This is actually the back of a page that I painted on. I painted something else on the front of the page, and I mean, it held up just fine. So that's pretty cool. Because I put, when you were watching, you probably noticed that I used a lot of water in this. And that was the thing I was going to say, you know, I'm always hearing that the key to granulating paints is to use just a ton of water. And when you're newer at this, it's like trying to figure out how much water. And interestingly, the water brush really helps with that. Because a lot of times, a lot of the paint just gets kind of embedded up in the bristles. And the only way to get it out is to push some water out. And normally I would do that like on a paper towel so that I wouldn't be getting these big blops of water. But in this situation, those big blops of water were actually really helpful to create the granulation. It worked really well. To do the sky, I actually, you know, I kept painting it on there and it kept looking streaky. So then I used my spray bottle, like my travel one, and I sprayed it on there. And that really helped with the kind of granulation and the spread out in the sky. And then, what else did I figure out? Oh, so interestingly, it's hard to tell. Unless I like really, maybe if I turn the light up more. So most of these paints have some kind of sparkle going on because some of them are the mica-based iridescent paints. And then some of them, like what I used in this car up here, were the amethyst. And the amethyst has like a sparkle to it. It's cool. So in real life, you can see more sparkling depending on the light. And that's kind of a neat effect as well. And then I used the Jelly Roll pen to get the white highlights, and then I painted over them with the duochrome Saguaro green, which worked really well to kind of create like green in some places and yellow in others, depending on if it was over a darker background. And I also used, which one is this? The iridescent ruby to get some of the shiny spots in the, it's hard to see it. Okay. Yeah, some of the shiny spots in the tail lights, and also just kind of turning some of the highlights a more like kind of pink color. Yeah, that was really cool. I will definitely play with these more now that I have a better idea of what the heck to do with them. So, and out of the, I actually really liked the Jadeite Genuine. That was the green I used. And I hadn't been sure what to think about that one, but I think that one creates like a really cool kind of dark nighttime green. And I also, so I put some of the amethyst in here, and then like in the shadows, I put some of the Mayan Blue Genuine. And I thought that was pretty cool too. So yeah, I'm definitely going to keep a lot of these ideas in mind. Pretty cool.